How in the world do you navigate through all this coronavirus and COVID-19 and social distancing? And some people are even calling it isolation. Stephanie Baker's along with us from Life in Abundance. It's a counseling center. Stephanie, let's walk through some of this and how people can find some kind of comfort through it all. One of the things that you point out is to expect or accept uncertainty.
Absolutely. And it's interesting because this is just in history one of the most uncertain times that I've ever lived through in my lifetime. People are not sure what's going to happen. Some of them with their jobs, so they're concerned about that. Parents are concerned about whether or not their kids are going to end up going back to school this year. And so there are a lot of things that come with that. But one of the things that I would say is that it's important for us to understand that when there's a situation that we don't have control over, our inability to understand and accept it doesn't change the fact that the situation is what it is. So can either be miserable or we can choose to focus on what we can do in that situation, what our choices can be. It helps us feel a little bit more secure when we feel like we have some choices and it's not just forced on us. So what we do during our day is pretty important.
So what about the grief that we're going through? Grief doesn't just come with the loss of a loved one. It can come from the loss of a job or that daily routine. So how do we navigate through that?
Well, one of the things I think that we can do is to, instead of also saying we're just going to cancel everything, let's talk about the word postpone. Cancel sounds finite. Postpone sounds like, okay, we will be able to do these things. It will happen, just not right at this time that we expected. So for even, families where they had seniors or have seniors that are thinking about graduation or prom has been missed, those types of things, there's a way to look at that and then maybe do some things after social distancing is lifted so that you can celebrate those things. It doesn't mean we're never going to celebrate them, and then acknowledging the loss, because milestones are losses. And like you said, Liz, losing a job or even being fearful that you're going to be laid off is pretty important to acknowledge. And everybody grieves differently. So somebody in your house may be showing it through irritability. Somebody else might be showing it through tears, and just giving each other some grace during this time.
Yeah, Liz had to walk through having to rearrange a wedding. Her daughter got married in the middle of all this and all that. I mean, that had to be some grief.
Yeah,
it really was for both of us. She had this idea of what this wedding was going to be. And of course that changed 180 degrees, but I'm telling you, it was beautiful.
That's great. That's great. What a nice story to hear.
Stephanie Baker's along with us from Life in Abundance, and we're talking about, she's a counselor, talking about how to get through this whole COVID-19 thing. She talked about expecting uncertainty and grief. What about structure?
So the temptation to hang around all day in your PJs might be pretty great. That was actually probably wearing off right about now, though.
Yeah, right.
Right. Showers are a good thing. So we want to keep doing that, personal hygiene. But routine, your brain is rule-based. And so in order for you to feel better and healthier, you want to try to maintain as much of a daily routine as you possibly can. If you have little ones or even teenagers at home, you want to try to keep that routine. So if you're doing homeschooling, you want to try to have a start and a stop time that's consistent just about every day that you're doing those things. A consistent wake up time, a consistent go to sleep time. Those types of things help you feel like you're more in a structured environment. And here's the thing. You can always create a different routine, a new routine. I just talked with a client of mine who's a college-aged young woman, and she's home, as many of them, are now, trying to finish the semester. And we talked about her putting together a schedule. She doesn't necessarily have the same deadlines as she did when she was on campus, but we sat down and she put together a schedule to keep her on track, because working from home is not for everybody, and being a student, you need to have a little bit of discipline to be able to do those things. So we talked about making a new normal, a new routine, but keeping a routine is really, really important. And also, like I said, waking up time, going to bed time, and making sure that you're doing your daily stuff, like brushing your teeth, and getting dressed. It's probably not a good idea for the kids to stay in their PJs either all day. So
yeah, and that's a good tip for both of us, not just for the kids, but we need to stay in that structured schedule as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
The only thing I'm doing different is not wearing shoes. Everything else still
Me
goes.
either.
I think we can afford you that freedom, Rob.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Hey, we've
it's
got about
good.
30 seconds left, but how's your family doing, Stephanie, through all this?
We're doing great, and I thank you so much for asking. I have an elderly stepfather who is at home. My mother is his caregiver, and so
Mm.
we are really concerned about making sure that they stay safe. And they've been doing great. And my husband and I, this is a new normal for us. I've been joking with him, telling him it's our pre-run for retirement. So
It's a good way to look at it.
yeah, the first couple of days, we had to iron some things out, but it's
Sure.
great. We make appointments to have lunch with each other in the kitchen. So he works upstairs, I work downstairs.
Good for you.